everyone! Welcome to the channel dedicated to sharing the profound insights and wisdom of Andromedan contactee Alex Collier. If you're new here, you're in for a journey that expands your mind and consciousness, bringing you closer to understanding the messages from the fifth density Andromedan extraterrestrials. For those returning, we're grateful for your continued support. Before we dive into today's enlightening content, we have a small favor to ask. If you find value in the knowledge shared in this video, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us amplify Alex Collier's message, allowing us to reach a larger audience with these vital messages. We'd also love to hear from you, so please engage with the comments below. Whether it's a question, your thoughts, or even just an emoji for the sake of engagement, every comment counts. We read every single comment, and your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. Additionally, if you'd like to support us further, consider giving a super thanks tip by clicking the heart with the $sign. This small gesture allows us to continue bringing you more of Alex's messages, unfiltered and directly from his lifelong experiences with the Andromedans. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video.
Welcome everybody. It's a beautiful day here in northern Scotland, and the sun is shining, the chickens are barking, and the cats are clucking, and I hope you're all very well. I've been to the dentist, all is well. All right, so today Alex has a nice little thing that he just showed me. It's let's see if I can bring it up and do a close-up of it. There we go. Can you see that? Yes, there we are. It's a beautiful fleur-de-lis design. And Alex, tell us a little bit more about this thing.
That's where we're going, showing jewelry. It was a gift for my birthday. It was a gift for my birthday from someone up in Canada. So, and I like it. Apparently it was made from a wax stamp from the 14th or 15th century that you would put on an envelope to seal it.
Yeah, that's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for showing it.
Okay. So I guess we're good to go.
Oh, yes. Over to you.
Okie dokie.
What's the webinar about today?
I have no idea. But we have a lot of things to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming and attending number 86. What we tried to do is to use the smallest amount of words to explain and express the biggest ideas, as opposed to politics, where they use the greatest amount of words to explain the smallest idea. And I think we should do away with the parties, political parties all across the world. I just think that it's ridiculous. All they do is divide the people. Now, here in America, there is this never-ending mantra of racism. Everybody's a racist for every reason that there is. If you disagree or express an opinion, you're a racist. My point is, it's totally gotten out of hand. So, for everybody, let me just explain something. The Sumerians and the Chaldeans had records of monarchies going back 450,000 years plus. So let's assume that's true. And there's no reason to not believe that it is. Monarchies have traditionally been the rulership of the planet. And 99.8% of those monarchies, the kings owned everything, they owned everybody, They owned the labor. No matter what you did, you had to get permission. So essentially, you were a slave. Didn't matter the color of your skin. If you were not in the monarchy or the chosen ones to work around the king, you were a servant. You were a slave. And it's been that way forever on earth. Literally forever. Now, the 0.2% is that I'm sure somewhere in there were some monarchies that we would consider maybe malevolent. Those of us who live under a Rothschild central banking system, you're a slave. You're a slave to debt. Okay, you maybe have the ability to move from town to town, maybe country to country, but you still need papers, but you're still a slave to debt. So we need to change the narrative here. We need to change the narrative, and we need to change the way we think about ourselves. Okay? If you're a victim, you're always going to be a victim. If you're a victim, you're always going to blame someone else, and you're going to give them power over you. That is no more prevalent than it is today. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're here in Europe. In Europe, you have a European Union where you don't vote for who runs your union. Your government, your centralized government. You don't vote for them. You vote for your representatives, but you don't vote for who actually runs the European Union. So you have no say. You still consider yourself free? Because you're not. Here in America, we have two parties. Frick and frack. They both are terrible. They really are. You know, who's the better of two evils? It's not promising. It's not promising. Here in the United States, a organic constitution forming a republic of self-rule, the first of its kind ever, was established. And it has been under attack ever since. Because that self-rule dictated that the citizens had the right to choose, to rule, and that the government was at the service of the people, of the states, and that the states were of the service of the people. Now, I'm bringing this up for a reason. If you remember, if some of you have followed the information for the last 25 plus years, and I've done this. In fact, I talked about this in Yelm, Washington, where I'm going at the end of August. And I'll give you some details about that here shortly. That one of the things that the Yays and the other benevolents talked about in those early years, they were having conversations about who would we be, humanity, if we were not being manipulated. Now understand, the manipulation of our race is on multiple levels. It's on economic, it's on spiritual, mind control, philosophical, psychological, physical. The manipulation's profound. And as far as I'm concerned, from what I've learned about our history, what I do know of it, and I'm not saying I know everything, is that we've always been at the short end of the stick. And yet we continue to thrive, we continue to fight, we continue to reach and scratch and claw our way towards something. Towards something. This innate knowledge that we all have, where we just keep moving forward and it drives us. It's more than just survival. It's more than that. It's something very deep and profound in all of us that keeps us driving towards something. We're going to get that chance. You need to hear this. We are going to get that opportunity to literally know who we are when we're not being manipulated. It may still be just a few years away. That doesn't mean major changes aren't happening, because they are. Oh my God, there's so much going on. And they're doing everything they can to keep it behind the curtain, but it's about to spill out. It really is. It's about to spill out everywhere. And my reason for bringing this up is those of us who are aware of what's been going on, those of us who are aware of all the changes that have been going on around the world, especially those behind the scenes, those of us who are aware of, to coin a phrase, the matrix. We're aware of it, we see it, we understand a lot of how it's operating and manipulating humanity. Who are we going to be when we no longer have that? When it all falls away and we no longer have to focus on that shit, that nightmare that we and our forefathers and foremothers have had to live with and live under. Who are we going to be? We are going to have to refocus our energy and our intention in a direction to creating a new reality. It's coming. I mean, it is right there. Literally, it is right there. With the changing of the frequencies, with the removing of the Nephilim, some of the worst Anunnaki possible, and the reptilians and other regressive races that found shelter here and have just screwed with us. As their removal continues, what we're going to be left with is the reality of what happened as it comes forward, and cleaning up those of our own race that totally sold us out for power. That's what we're going to be left with. Now, that's not a vision, okay? That's not a vision for the future. But that's what it is. That's what we're going to be left with. And we're there. We literally are there. It's time to come up with a new direction, a new definition of humanity. For example, do we want individual countries, or do we want a single country? Do we even want a country? Do we even want to call it a country? How do we want to feed ourselves? How do we want to issue justice? How do we want to grow food and distribute it? What kind of technology would be safe and could not be abused that all of us could use holistically? How do we experience and express a love of God and a holding of spirit within ourselves? I mean, these are just some of the things that we're all going to have to look at. Because what's coming here in the next 4 to 5 years is the first thing we're all going to really figure out and learn is what the world really isn't. And what I mean by that is that we have been given a story of what life is. We've seen it on the outside. We've lived it all on the outside. That which is outside of us. This is what life is. This is supposed to be how it's run. Okay? What happens when we all realize and we all find out that all of what we see on the outside, well, maybe not all of it, but let's just say 50% of it, that we see on the outside of how the world is supposed to be run has been nothing more than an absolute and total manipulation. To use our consciousness to get us to focus our intent in creating a physical reality that would subjugate humanity and put those who are just rubbish in charge of humanity to control and manipulate, and literally, in some cases, feed off of. That's the first shock that's coming. Corruption in government, that's not a shock. Nobody is going to be shocked by that. And we've known it's been going on forever in every country. So what's going to happen here is that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. There's going to be a flip in the consciousness. That's already occurring. We already see the consciousness flipping. Human beings, our brothers and sisters on this planet, are really, really getting fed up with being lied to and manipulated, controlled, poisoned, all of the above. But we need a direction. We need a direction to move towards. We need an idea of what it is that we want. Now, as we get closer and closer to this moment, where there's this flip, and the merging of densities continues to move and come together, third to fourth. And you can look at this in one of two ways. Yes, we're raising the frequency of third density. We know this from the Schumann resonance. Yes, the frequency is rising. But you also have to know that a significant portion of us who can already see and understand fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimension because of the template that we have created in our minds when our souls attach to the physical body. Okay? We also, whether we realize it or not, we are also drawing fourth density to merge into third. And right behind it, those of us who focus on fifth, okay, we're also pulling fifth density frequencies down here. Now, we have fourth density extraterrestrials visitations. We have fifth density that are coming and going. They are sharing our space. They literally are sharing our space. When their craft are here and they turn on and they physically hold a resonance in our physical field. Do you understand? That's changing our frequency. Every time the A's would come down and they would visit me and they would physically manifest their craft, that resonance is changing third density. The same for third, same for fourth. Every time they physically manifest, they create a resonance. Now, let me address something about this. In the past, there have been visitations from those in fourth, from a particular star constellation, who came down and they were visiting a contactee. And they used a tree to ground themselves. And then they took the tree away. Okay? So there'd be no evidence. There's still evidence. The fact that they were here, the resonance that they physically created, is still here. It's still present. Because the tree was connected to the earth. And the earth is still here. They didn't take the earth with the tree. See? There is so much going on that we don't understand. It's amazing. It's just, you couldn't write a movie script like this. And more people are coming back into their power, especially the feminine. Long overdue, absolutely long overdue. I just hope that, when you fully do come into your power, that you realize that, it's not all our fault, man. It's not all our fault. We have been played just like everybody else, okay? But given the real choices, most men would absolutely make the right choice. They would. Okay? I mean, sometimes we're slow to catch on, but we're not idiots. Mostly. But hey, we're all catching up. We are all catching up. Now, the first thing we have to realize is that all of us, regardless of our race and our creeds, have a shared history. And that history has been one such as we have all been used and abused over lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, and regardless of the civilizations in which we lived. Okay, we've all known prosperity, we've all known poverty. We've all known what appeared to be some type of freedom, and we've known slavery. We've known despair. We've known heartbreak. We all have a shared history. And the process that we're all beginning to go through now, this process of awakening, first has to do with the recognition of what is real. And then you have to process what you thought was real to what actually is real. And in that process of disbanding and letting go of the illusions of what is real and what isn't, can be a very, very interesting and a very, very painful process. In many ways, you can relate it to a dark night of the soul, where someone on a individual level goes through an experience of heartbreak where they believe their entire world is shattered, and everything that they thought they knew, it collapses. Gone. Some of us go through more than one. and their mothers, they are horrible to go through. But when you do come out of them, you have a new perspective. You know, it's like a reset of your entire internal self. And sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need that. Because the focus, when the focus is 90% on the outside, you forget to nurture your soul. And what we forget is that we are soul. Okay? That's all we really are, is soul. I mean, we have these physical bodies, but we only use them for so many years. And then when we leave, when death comes upon us, it's the spirit, the soul, that leaves and then comes back and incarnates to inhabit another body, to go back to school, for lack of a better word. So we're always soul. But one of the biggest manipulations of this whole trip here on earth has been to get us to forget about that part of ourselves and focus on the outside. And you see, that's where the manipulation is. That is where the biggest manipulation is. Because where your focus is where your energy goes. And ladies and gentlemen, everything is energy. It's all energy, everything. When you break it down to its simplest forms, it's all energy. Humanity's going to learn that here very, very soon. Many already know this. Okay? But the avalanche hasn't started quite yet. But we're getting there. More and more people are withdrawing their energy from this insanity. And what I mean by that is they're not participating in all the dramas. They have figured out what it is that they want, and they are cutting that slice of reality for themselves and for their children, for their loved ones. And that's what they're focusing on. They're not focusing on all the other garbage. And if enough of us do that, that garbage will starve itself and it will cease to exist. Okay? And part of that is the process of waking up. It is uncovering, it's flipping the stones and realizing, oh my God, this is not at all what I thought. See, that's where humanity that door is what humanity is about to open. What is really going on? Now, once that door opens, it's going to blow off the hinges. So there'll be no stopping it. Okay, the door is already open. About that much. But we're not that different, all of us. We're really not. And my point is that as long as they can keep us divided with this nonsense, humanity is going to remain broken. And when the regressives are taken out of here, and the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminati, all of these dark princes, people who have just traumatized humanity. when they're not here, we have to rise to the occasion. We have to step forward. We can't be victims, because I'm telling you, and when we learn the true history of our planet, we will see this. If we say we need somebody to come down and save us, oh my God, we're going to start this process all over again, especially if it's an extraterrestrial. Okay? The benevolents aren't going to do this. They will teach, they will mentor. But what they teach is self-responsibility, self-management. The tools that have worked for them as they have evolved and progressed from stupidity into maturity to self-righteous responsibility, to total self-responsibility, to unconditionally be responsible for oneself without being coerced to accept some higher authority. Now, does that mean you don't pay attention to God? It's not what that means at all. That is not what it means at all. It means being responsible for what you create. That's what it means. What I create, what you create, what we create. We have to be responsible for it. And we're going to be called on it. Okay? Listen, if they wanted to get rid of us, they could roll this planet and just do a pulse shift. Boom! It'd be over in 24 hours. Okay? They could do it. They have the technology. They've done it before. Okay? But we're not going to get that. We're not going to get that. We've been screwed with royally for the last 10,000 years. And higher minds have prevailed, and we're going to get a shot to be on our own without manipulation. And that means a level of maturity that all of us are going to have to step into, to grow into. And as we are growing into it, we have to be sure that we fully communicate with the generations behind us what we're doing, what we're learning, what we're experiencing, what our mistakes are, and make sure that they know all along the way everything that we're doing and what we know. Okay? It's called the law of consistency. The kids are supposed to be smarter than us. They're supposed to know everything we know. So there's no brain drain. So humanity can continue to move forward. And you know what? We have phenomenal technology already. That already exists. That we can in fact manufacture here. It's been suppressed. It's been hidden from us. There are efforts to bring it forward, to bring it out in the open. And I think in a large part, they're all going to be extremely successful. But understand that we are responsible for our own consciousness. You, me, everybody outside that window driving around here, we're all responsible for our consciousness. Where we put our minds, what we focus on, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's almost like we're going to have to unlearn everything we've learned. And I think that's going to be hard. I really do. But what we really need to start paying attention to is our strengths. resiliency. Oh my God. Humans on this planet, we are as resilient as any in the galaxy, maybe even the universe. Because we have been dealt a bad hand from the get-go. And we're still here, we're still plugging away. Family. Family. We all want family. Even gangs. They create a family within the gang. Those people all become their family. They become a family to each other. They're destructive. That's not the point I'm trying to bring up, but the fact is, we're not meant to be solitary beings. We love being in communion and community with others. Most of us, anyway. Okay? The ability to experience emotions, to experience compassion, to experience love, to experience heartbreak, to experience joy. The ability to literally write and create music out of nowhere. And that music then played physically in the world, putting the resonance into our space, adds depth, adds culture, adds soul. That makes people cry, it makes people dance, gets people excited. Our ingenuity, our ability to figure stuff out. Einstein said it best, you can't solve the problems of the world with the same thinking that created it. You know what? There's a lot of people that get that now. A lot more now than there were back in the 1920s when he said it. Okay, we get that now. We have a lot of people thinking out of the box. And that's great, because creativity and imagination is what makes things happen physically in this world. Our emotions are a real strength. As long as they don't harm others. And that's a lesson we all have to learn. Because when you use your emotions to harm another, it's an abuse of power. And I had this text conversation with somebody just before the webinar. I am blessed. I am blessed to have had another perspective of us. I have been able to step out of the world for a period of time. So hours, days, in one case, months. Was I enthralled with my surroundings? Absolutely. Was I amazed? Yes. Were there times I didn't want to come back? Yes. Did I always understand the wisdom of them saying I had to come back? Definitely no. Definitely no. But did I appreciate it in the long run? Yes. Yes, I did. I don't think any of us truly appreciate where we are, what we're doing, and what it is that we're really actually creating and experiencing here on Earth in third density. Because there's a lot of souls that want to come into this physical reality to experience it. Because it's so different, it's so unique. And the ability to experience the breadth and width of our emotions, to emotionally and physically experience music, sound, love on such a very deep physical level, I know is unique to us here. So we have a lot to be thankful for. We really, truly do. And we need to start focusing on the blessings that we do have. Because over the next several years, when all these things come out, when people are being arrested and people are committing suicide, when people are being jailed or executed, and there's a full house cleaning of the rulership of this planet, that's both human and non-human. Some of us have to step forward to guide the way, to move humanity to another level. Do we know what that is yet? I don't know that we do. Because every time we get to this place of awakening and spiritually awakening and then evolving into another frequency, we have been shut down. So we are as close as we've ever been to flipping this whole scenario here. Well, what's going to happen when we do? Are we going to give our power away again to someone who isn't us? Or can we step up, step forward, move into leadership, all of us into a leadership role to take humanity where we want it to go? So where is it that we want it to go? Where do we want to take humanity? You know, what does a society that serves all of us, that empowers all of us, that enables all of us to be everything that we can be, what does that look like? I'm not using the term utopia because I don't know that that's even true. You know, I think 70% of the people here that moved into fourth density would think that's heaven. No, it's not. Okay, because those in fourth think fifth density is heaven. No, it's not. Okay, I want to talk to the beings on 12th density. They're a lot closer to heaven than I am, or any of us are. Okay, because they're right there by source. To me, that's heaven. I wanted to share something with you guys that I found to be extremely important. And I do this. I clear my house several times a year. I should probably do it more often. I will be doing it more often now. But it is the practice of smudging and clearing one's house, one's space. Now we all know the indigenous people did this. And they have been remarkably ahead of everybody else in this. And anyway, let me just share this with you. The Journal of Ethnopharmacology. This article is available on ScienceDirect.com. The Journal of Ethnopharmacy. Medicinal smoke reduces airborne bacteria. This is smudging now. In 2006, they wanted to find out if there was anything to this. Okay, doctors and scientists. So they took an area, a room, and they smudged it. Within 60 minutes, 94% of all the bacteria that was in that room was completely neutralized. Within 24 hours, all of the bacteria, including drug-resistant bacteria, was gone, was dead. The smoke did that. Okay? So everybody was like, yeah. Okay, right. So they did the experiment again in 2007. And what they found out was that not only drug-resistant antibiotic bacteria, but it also shut down and eliminated 1,700 different types of microbes, even anthrax and plague that they put in these rooms. Smudging, the Ayurvedic smudge or incense that they use in India, and sage that the Native Americans used here in North America, did this. And within 30 minutes, 90% or more of the bacteria was gone. Within 24 hours, all of it was gone. And in most cases, the free from bacteria lasted for 30 days. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And then somewhere else I read that the chemical companies that sell sprays and all that other crap made from chemicals, they asked that this report just be buried. And it was. It was buried. And somehow it has surfaced recently. So, I know there's probably going to be a small run on stage now at the health food store. But it's important stuff, it really is. Because when you're clearing your space, your intent is focused on your home, your castle, your sacred space. And that's always a good thing. It is. To always focus on that. Because where focus goes, energy flows. That's the rule. I have a clock here? Yeah, I still have a few more minutes. I want to talk about the RV, the reset. I know that it's been very difficult to continue to hold on. Man, don't I know. If it weren't for the help of others, I'd be in my car already. Here's where we're at. 3 weeks ago, they tried to get this thing to go. They were going to do the whole rollout all at once. Well, the cabal, what's left of it, shut it down. They threw everything everything at this in all these different countries. China's one. You see what's going on in Hong Kong? That's a total manipulation to stop China from doing what it needs to do so it can reset its currency. What's going on in Europe, in other countries, here in the United States, the constant drumming of racism and projection of just bullshit, all of that with the complicity of the medias, was all part of the kitchen sink. So what they decided to do was they took it back and they began incrementing things at a much smaller level, very slowly, day by day. Instead of doing the whole thing at once, they're implementing it in pieces now. I want to say we're there. I want to say we're there. I'm being told we're there. It's knocking at the door everywhere. Okay? I'm incredibly optimistic. I really am. Just hold a positive attitude. Okay? What was it that James Allen once said? As a man thinketh, as a woman thinketh. You know, here we are, holographically, our minds can already see and understand different dimensions. We ourselves can't conceive of it because we've been so focused on third density. But the template's already in our head. Okay? The Blue Brain Project in Switzerland. That's where you got to go for that. We do not understand yet how powerful our thinking really is, how incredibly strong our imagination is. Some people do. Some people already know this. But most don't. They haven't realized it yet. Or it hasn't been introduced to them yet. And there is a discipline to learning this technique. I am absolutely convinced that there is nothing we cannot accomplish if we all put our heads together and we focus on it. Okay? Now, having said that, if you've watched the Democratic debates, I'm an independent, okay? I am. I'm an independent. And this way I'm not tied to any one side or the other. And frankly, I don't believe we should have political parties anymore because they're both as dysfunctional as the other. But if I were a Democrat, the only person I would actually take seriously would be Tulsi Gabbard. She's the only one. And on the other party, I have to stand with the president at this point. Absolutely do. During the debate, several Democrats said we have 10 years, 12 years, or time's already run out, there's nothing we can do. If it were true there would be nothing we could do, then we should just have a block party. From the East Coast to the West Coast. A 10-year block party. If it was truly over. And there was nothing we could do. But of course it's not true. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Okay? There is intervention going on all over the place. We're going to be okay. We are going to be okay. The earth is going to be okay. She's going to go through some changes. She has energy she has to release. She is moving all the time. She is expanding, which means tectonic plates have to move. Okay? But this religion of we're destroying the climate, folks, it's just not true. It's not true. If you were to shut down all industry, everything in the United States, if you were to shut down all industry in Europe and we did nothing, we didn't create a single ounce of carbon emissions, what do you do about China? They're the culprits here. They're the culprits. It's China. And they don't give a shit. It's crazy. Okay? It's crazy. Let's just blame everybody else and project everything onto them because we can't deal with China. We can't tell China what to do, but we can tell you what to do because we think we know better, even though there is no hard science. Now, the more carbon there is in the atmosphere, the more there is for trees and plants and plant life in the oceans to grow. And what is it that they release? They release oxygen. Okay? Well, we need more oxygen in our atmosphere. As our population continues to grow, we need more oxygen in our atmosphere. There was a time where that was a real threat to us, that we could drop below 10%. That's not the case anymore. And these knuckleheads, they want to shut it all down. You know, a real education is important for everyone. It really is. And because you know what the facts are, you know how to look up the facts, you can research the facts. And we're going to be okay. We really are. We're going to be okay. We as a species have some growing to do and some maturing to do. And somehow, some way, a very genuine dialogue has to begin that is not religious dogma, that has nothing to do with political dogma. It has to do with who do we want to be? Seriously, who do we want to be? How? What is it that we want? Now, we've had a very select few beings, both human and non, that have been directing our direction for thousands of years. Okay? They're being removed from the planet because of horrible things that they've been doing to humanity in the background. So there's going to be void at the top. That leadership that we perceive as leadership is being removed. How do we fill that space? What do we fill it with? Who do we fill it with? Do we fill it with anyone? What is our direction? What is it that we want? These are all conversations we have to have at this point. We need to start having these conversations now. You have to know that the space fleets, both the light and the dark side of it, We do live in a duality. They're having these conversations because they're out there interacting with other evolved species and races, cultures, civilizations. And as much as I honor their service and their sacrifice, I don't know that I would want a military leading any government. Not necessarily. I'd be more comfortable with civilian leadership. I don't know. These are very, very interesting things to propose. They're very interesting things to think about. They're not your normal day stuff to think about or normal day conversations. An example would be, and this is probably a terrible example, but let's say that the leadership of the United States, the entire leadership of the United States, of the federal government, something were to happen catastrophic. And everything that we know to be our federal government is no longer there. How would we manage the country? What direction would we go? Now, we're unique here in the States because the states were set up first. Each of the states was independent on its own. And then the states came together independently to create a federal government. And that's what the Constitution of the United States is. It's an agreement between the states, which were managed by the people and ruled by the people, and the federal government. See, first there was the people. The people created states to manage interstate commerce. Then the states got together to create a federal government to regulate international commerce. That was the original intent of getting it started. So we're blessed in that way that, most municipal localities could continue to manage on their own without a federal government. Not that I'm advocating for that, it's not where I'm going. But in other parts of the world, they don't have anything like that. But this is not just a US issue, this is a global issue. Okay? And I feel safe bringing this up because Congress is on recess for 6 weeks. So they're not passing laws restricting our freedoms. So we're safe for now. Anyway, I don't know, are there any questions?
Is the thing on?
I can hear you if that's what you mean.
Yep. Cool. Anyway, let's start with something controversial.
Oh, wait a minute. Before we go there.
Okay.
Somebody sent me a question today. Actually, it was through James. And the question was, it had to do with, this is it right here. What does death feel like? Is it painful? That's a very difficult answer. Not being a zombie myself, I can't tell you what it feels like to be dead. My own near-death experience took place in an accident, a crash. But I was out of my body so fast, I don't remember much of anything, other than the fact that I was out of my body, and at some point, I was looking down at myself in the wreckage. And there was a man standing next to me right here on my right. He looked like a biblical character, but every time I turned my head to look at him, it was a male, I couldn't see his face. It would just go blur. But if I was looking straight ahead, I could see him clearly in my peripheral, minus the frontal features. And he just said that you have to go back, it's not your time. That this wasn't meant to occur. So you have to go back. And before I realized anything, I was back in my body. But I was fully aware that I was out of it. There was no pain. There was just absolute wonderment. Like I said at the last webinar, I lost a friend, one of my oldest friends, dearest, my best friend in the world. He went a hard way. He went a very hard way. And the only thing they could do for him at the end was pain pills to try to make it as comfortable as possible. And when the time came, he went in a hard way. I think it's different for everyone. But what's important to note is that you're not your physical body. You use your physical body, you inhabit your physical body, but there is so much more to you than the physical body. There's the soul. And we need to be tending more to the soul, to integrate more of the soul and its essence, its knowledge into our physical lives. Many people do that in different ways. They do it through yoga, spirituality, meditation, prayer, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, whatever works for you. As long as it works for you, that's what's important, is to bring the essence of your soul more into harmony with what you're living and how you're living. And maybe at some point, give you more guidance. Allow your soul to give you more guidance in the decisions that we make here in third density. Because it's Earth's an enigma. It really is. It's quite the trip. It's quite the trip. Okay, I'm sorry, JP. I just wanted to share that.
I learned that the Vatican created Islam. Perhaps Alex can comment on that.
I've heard that as well, but I have not spent any time or any focus on that whatsoever. You have to realize that the Vatican is and was the government of Rome. Now, there was a government with the Roman Senate, etc. But when the Republic of Rome, that's what they called themselves, collapsed, Europe changed and we had the Renaissance. But the actual government of Rome remained intact. They just moved from being politicians to priests and cardinals. But the wealth, the banking control, the trusts that they had set up declaring that they own, and they still believe they own all of the Roman Empire, the old Roman Empire, that's always remained intact, okay? Now, I've been somewhat critical of Christianity in the extent that here you have a church that's supposed to be representing Christ, and the place is and it's an absolute snake pit. It's an absolute snake pit of corruption, pedophilia, the whole 9 yards. That's the tip of the iceberg. Okay? I don't see how it represents Christ in any way, which is why I'm always suspect of anything they tell me I have to believe, which is why I don't. I typically will go the other way. You lead by example. I haven't seen any of that from them. Not ever. Even when I was an altar boy, I didn't see any of that. So, it wouldn't surprise me at all to the extent that why they did it. Maybe it was a way of rallying the troops, divide and conquer. Maybe they wanted to, they created the animosity for a power trip to keep parts of the world divided, to hide the fact that much of Christianity was founded on Buddhism. Maybe it's any and all of those things. It's hard to say. It's really, really hard to say. Or when the Middle Eastern countries were rebelling, Rome was losing some of its power and its wealth in these Middle Eastern countries because much of that was at one time the old Roman Empire. It's hard to say. I haven't looked into it, but nothing surprises me. My dad when I was a kid, I was 12 or 13, gave me a book. It was called oh my God, I can't believe I just forgot it. Something to the effect, The Wealth of Rome. And I've tried looking for it, but it talked about how the church owned 90%, the Roman Catholic Church owned 90% of Coca-Cola's foreign stock. And oil companies, diamond mines, it's just a corporation. That's all it is. A corporation wrapped in a church that actually is a trust. That's all it is. So, that's one of those things where, it isn't and never was what we always thought it was. So, anyway, okay.
William and Stephanie Pepper, we seem to be in a lull of chemtrail activity. Is this just a hiatus, or is this a real change that we can believe in? And maybe buy you lunch or dinner in Yellum.
Well, definitely introduce yourselves. I haven't done one of these speaking engagements in 10 years, so I'm definitely a fish out of water at these things. I genuinely don't know what to expect, but certainly introduce yourselves, William and Stephanie. And if we can have break bread, I'd be happy with that, or a cup of coffee. I hear there's some good coffee up there. I hope it's change we can believe in. Not to quote Obama, but I hope it's change we can believe in. I really do. I am optimistic at this time, and I am doing everything I can to convince myself to be optimistic that real change is coming and it's here. So, we're dealing with a very, very dark energy that has had absolute control of the planet for quite some time. They're not going to go away overnight. They are kicking, screaming, clawing, hissing, the whole 9 yards, barking. It's nasty at that level. It's downright nasty. So but we have reinforcements. This I know for a fact. They're not fighting the battle for us, except for those entities that are not us, because we can't deal with that issue. But we have assistance, and we're also getting some mentoring. Mentoring's already begun at that level. So it hasn't reached us yet. And the reality of what's been going on is only trickling out now. It's just only trickling out. But good things are coming. I truly believe that. Changing the monetary system worldwide is a major, major piece of this. It really is. Because every country in the world's in debt to them. So that has to change. And it's going to. That is the key piece on a lot of people's minds, as well as eliminating the regressives who have been feeding off of us and the human beings who have completely betrayed humanity through human trafficking, slave trafficking, selling us to groups who are taking us off world. It's nasty. It's really nasty. And it's gone on way too long. Way too long. So I'm optimistic. I truly am. I really am.
Lauren is asking, you were given a deep breathing exercise in order for your body to make the most of the new energies hitting the planet. What is it about higher levels of oxygen in the blood that help us adapt? Do you think oxygen supplements could help too? What was this?
Yeah.
So for me, what was the deep breathing exercise?
Can I do that on the next webinar? May I do that? I'll do that on the next webinar. In fact, we will start with that. Okay. I do take a supplement. I myself do, because of what happened, last year with my heart. I take a nitric oxide supplement, which helps a lot. And I've learned to measure it so that I don't turn beet red. Okay. Walk like an Indian. But to simplify it is I will take 3 very deep breaths, and then I will hold the last one. And I do this as I'm walking. And then when I let go of the 3rd deep breath, I release it very, very slowly. And I say the words, I am at one with all. And I see the breath. As I'm releasing the breath, I'm saying the words, I am at one with all. And I am seeing my breath go directly to the Creator. Through the dimensions, I see the dimensions in my mind, and my breath goes right to the Creator. I am at one with all. And I will do this for 15 to 20 minutes every single day. And it's good. It's good. You should try it.
Okay, now we got 2 questions that are very
Sorry,
similar.
it's not glamorous. It's just not. But it's focused intention, you see. It's focused intention. Your breath is like a prayer. When you pray, and I'm not talking about just repeating the same thing over and over again. What I'm saying is when you pray, when you use your words, when you communicate your deepest self to the universe, of which you are absolutely a complete part of, You send out a resonance. Okay, your consciousness, you create a frequency that permeates everything. It goes everywhere. It doesn't stay here in third density. Not at all. It goes straight to the top. And the more you're aware of that, the more you connect to that which is at the top. Because we have been conditioned to narrow our focus to this. This right here, for almost everyone on this planet, is survival. This is what we're operating with, this much focus, when in fact, it's completely unlimited. Test the exercise for yourself. That's all I can tell you. Okay, that's what I was given, and it works real good for me. It does. I still have a sense of humor after all the shit I've been through doing this kind of work and just everything else. I still have a sense of humor, so it works. It works for me anyway. Okay. So I'm sorry, JP. I think we have time for one more.
All right. So there's two questions that are kind of connected. One from Sherry, one from Justin. Something you mentioned previously, but you didn't answer previously. Do hybrids have souls? That's from Sherry. And from Justin, you previously mentioned there are beings which do not contain soul. Would such a person be considered a part of Source if they do not contain a soul? What happens to them as the consciousness raises?
That's a really, really good question. If you're dealing with a human being that is altered into a hybrid, they would have soul. They're altered, but they would have soul. If a hybrid is literally created in a lab, my understanding is no, there is no soul. And it is in effect a robot human being. The brain doesn't get the soul, so therefore there's no template of consciousness in it. So therefore the brain or the structure that is grown in there has to be programmed, literally programmed. It's almost like a microprocessor. Is it a part of Source? I don't know that I can answer that question. I don't know that I'm qualified to know. But when it's dead, it's dead. You know what I'm saying? That's a really good question. Because I'm told that there are a fair amount of hybrid humans on the planet. That's where I gotta leave it. That's where I gotta leave it. Still there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
We'll see you.
It goes by really quick. Listen, I'm going to be in Yelm at the Earth, they call it the Earth UFO Fest 2019. And it's Friday the 30th of August. It goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday through to Sunday being September 1st. I think I'm speaking on Saturday night, and then they're talking about a workshop or something on Sunday, which for me would be just a Q&A. I'm very comfortable in that kind of a scenario. But I don't have all the hard details as to what time or anything. But when I get home today, I will send James the information that was sent to me. And if you guys are in that neck of the woods, I would love to meet you. Because you guys are family. And I would love to meet you. And thank you for putting up with me all these years. All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta go to work. I love you. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it insightful, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future updates. If you have any questions relating to today's video, please also leave them below. We read all the comments and take on board what our viewers have to say about Alex Collier's work. Remember, your support helps Alex Collier's knowledge and the messages from the Andromedans reach more people. If you'd like to support the channel even more, you can give us a super thanks tip by clicking the heart icon with a $sign. It really helps our team bring you more content. Also, be sure to visit alexcollier.org to sign up for our regular email newsletter. It's the best way to stay updated with the latest news, exclusive content, and upcoming live webinars. For the latest insights from Alex Collier, check out alexcollier.live. And if you want to explore over 250 past webinars, head over to alexcollier.tv. Thank you for being a part of this journey and supporting Alex Collier's work. We couldn't do this without you, and we're genuinely grateful for your support. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the vast mysteries of our universe. If you would like to see the Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.